about 10 minutes, so that you don't keep thinking, when's she gonna stop? Hopefully that gives you an idea. Fellow board members, whatever our differences of opinion, and there have been plenty, I think we can all agree that the year is off to a great start. Until the agenda for this meeting was announced, morale in our schools and among district personnel was higher than it's been in a long time. Mrs. Varner, 2 days after school started, you told me you had been over to the elementary school and things were completely different, in a good way. With that in mind, I want to remind the board that it is not too late to wait to decide on our next superintendent. We do not have to enter into a contract tonight that could interrupt the positive momentum. We do not have to enter into a contract tonight that will cost $750,000 over the next 4 years. We don't need a fourth new superintendent in this district in this calendar year. We risk so much by acting tonight, and we risk nothing by waiting. I spent a lot of time crafting my own thoughts on how this vote might negatively impact district and community morale. But then I started to hear from teachers and nurses and employees. One comment was, I wish we had a say in the vote. I can't give them a vote, but hopefully I can give them a voice by reading their words rather than my own. They said these publicly, so I'm going to use their names. They are respected members of our school community. From Kim Clan-Smith Hart, Christy has proven her ability over and over again throughout her career here. She is 100% committed to the success of our district. She has the best interests of the students as well as the staff. She is organized and shows incredible leadership qualities at all times. I could go on and on. It will be a shame if Christy is not hired as our superintendent. I do not know Dr. Dawson. I am not saying that he's not well qualified. I just can't live with myself if I don't declare my support for Christy. From Todd Weisman, I've been contemplating all day what to do. We desperately need consistency and stability. If I'm counting correctly, this will be the 10th superintendent I have worked for here in my 20-year career. Constant change. And from Janice Snyder, Christy has done a great job with organizing and motivating the staff. She has set up systems and checks to make sure everyone's on the same page. She is dedicated and committed to our district, and we've seen her do wonderful things under very challenging circumstances. Our administrators and staff and teachers have kept our classes going, our schools safe, and our children learning throughout all of the chaos of 2019. I implore the board not to ignore their voices in this decision. Several times this year, Mr. Woodward, you have asked us to take a wait-and-see approach, whether because of financial insecurity, the best interest of students, to gather more data. Tonight, I'm making that request of the board. Let's wait and see how our students and faculty perform this year. Let's wait and see how a board with a minimum of 3 new members in November wants to proceed. And let's wait and see how our budget plays out. This spring, Mr. Fozzie told the board that our administrators want and need to be inspired. It became very clear quickly after Mrs. Holderman was made interim superintendent that she was inspiring them. This summer, she led them on a retreat with an ambitious agenda. They grew as a team, they were affirmed and challenged, and most importantly, felt optimistic for the first time in a long time. While the board was busy this summer with a superintendent search, court appearances, administrative hearings, depositions, the school year didn't wait for us. It came quickly, and now we find ourselves several weeks into a new year. By every count, the year is off to a great start. Don't believe me, though. Believe an email from Penny Ritzman, the nurse at East Juniata, the woman who spends countless hours giving our kids medications, directing our plays and our musicals, reminding us of those forms that we still haven't sent back, and a 25-year employee of the district. Things were going south fast last year. I was ready to look for a new job and had started going to interviews. The atmosphere at school was terrible. It was a sense of mourning all year. When EJ was ripped apart mid-year by the removal of Ben Fozzie to JHS, everything was in turmoil. When Christy became the acting superintendent, things immediately began to right themselves. We had a good, strong, and kind leader, which is saying a lot today. We started this new school year, and the atmosphere here was completely different. People were laughing, loving their jobs again, and excited to be back. We have a wonderful leader in Wendy Jarahian and Christy Holderman. They are both incredibly strong women who have spines of iron. Both are personable yet firm. Both are fair, yet follow the rules. I have great respect for them. Those are just a few of the emails that I received, and the board as a whole has received countless, from district personnel and the community as a whole. These emails tell me that things are working and working well. There is no problem to fix, there is no fire to put out, and we know what emergencies look like in this district. So please, just wait so that we don't put this at risk. In addition to upending the stability, I want to talk about the financial ramifications of this contract. In May of this year, 6 board members initially voted against the proposed budget. No one identified a single line item of concern. Rather, there was a tax increase that translated to approximately $7 per taxpayer. The proposed budget ultimately passed, still over the votes of Mrs. Shadle, Mr. Woodward, and Mr. Wagner. However, it was made very clear that a final budget would not pass unless, according to Mr. Snyder, our business manager sharpened his pencil and got rid of the fluff. We did pass a final budget in June, a budget that Mr. Miley told us was overly optimistic when it came to revenues, unrealistic, and irresponsible. And when we passed it, we still had 3 people voting against it, Mrs. Shadle, Mr. Wagner, and Mr. Snyder, presumably because of the $3 tax increase. If the board votes yes on this contract tonight, you will be contractually obligating this district to fulfill its terms until July of 2023. But the board will also still be obligated to pass a budget every single year. I won't be on the board in June, so I'm not asking this as a director. I'm asking this as a parent, a taxpayer, and a resident. To the members who plan to vote yes on this, do you plan to be more liberal in June with tax increases? And if not, what do you plan to cut? Educational programs, extracurricular activities, maintenance on our new buildings, renovations on our old buildings, safety? I would propose an alternative to committing the district to $755,666 over the next 4 years. I just propose we wait and see. We can wait and see if we even need both a full-time superintendent and assistant superintendent. When we made Mrs. Holderman the assistant this spring, our buildings were woefully understaffed with administrators due to a poorly planned but well-packaged administrative realignment. And I can only speak for myself, but I want to publicly apologize for my vote on that to our administrators. A vote that by all accounts wreaked havoc in our schools and left them desperate for administrators who had proper credentials to perform administrative duties, such as special education meetings required by law and the ability to impose discipline. Mrs. Holderman, as assistant superintendent, not only wore the superintendent hat when our part-time interim Dr. Kovac couldn't be in district, but she also fulfilled administrative vacancies in schools. In that situation, we needed both seats filled. Maybe we'll find that we still do, but we can't know that for sure unless we wait and see. Our schools are now adequately staffed with certified principals and vice principals. Mrs. Holderman structured it so that we were able to do this at minimal cost. Maybe in the long run we'll find we still need both positions to be filled, but I would encourage us tonight to wait and see. We've only had those principals for a few weeks. Please know that I have thought long and hard about the fact that Dr. Dawson seems to be a fine candidate, and it's a reasonable contract. But, and I know that he came here tonight thinking he would probably be hired. I have no doubt that the board members who came here planning to vote yes have acted with good intentions and negotiated in good faith. I get that it is hard to change course now, but you still can, and you can with a clean conscience. prior to this week, you did not have the outcry of the community. You did not have the collective voice of your constituents. No one could have anticipated the level of engagement we've had, and it is not too late to change course. The promise you should be most concerned about is the promise to listen to the people who elected you. I want to close with this. There are several of you that don't like me. I get that. Believe me, I drive myself crazy, and Troy's writing that down. I'm being silly, Troy.
I write everything.
I know you do. There are those of you that don't like me or with whom I've butted heads. I've had to apologize to a number of you over the past couple of years for harsh words and raised voice. I am not delicate, I can be reactive, and I can be hot-headed. A prime example is that I initially said that if the board decided to proceed with yet another search, I wasn't going to participate. Guess what? The board decided to proceed. And Mr. Klein, who's virtually guaranteed to be in that seat come November, unfortunately wasn't available at this time to fill a vacancy if I resigned. I was so committed to not being part of this process that I was willing to resign. And I realized that my constituents needed a voice on the board for them, and I couldn't just throw up my hands and say, nope, not participating. So I swallowed my pride, I admitted I was wrong, to myself at least, and I fulfilled my obligation to Susquehanna and Delaware Townships by fully participating in the search. I read every resume, I went to every interview, I asked a lot of questions. Our deliberations were more heated than I want to admit. But I want to be very clear that I am not standing here asking for a win for me. I want to win for our district, I want to win for our community, and this community needs a win. Our administrators and teachers and support staff need a win. And a win tonight would simply be a vote to wait and see. So I ask you, when it comes up in the agenda, to please vote no to hire a new superintendent. Thank you.
Any other school board members? School district administration. Under the public comment, we got Ron Brown, superintendent.
Yeah, I came here tonight in support of Christie. By the way, Kelly, and I love you to death right now. You're right, Nato.
Write that down.
But yeah, there's a saying that goes something like, some people will tell you I'm a really nice guy. Some people will tell you I'm the biggest jerk in the world. And you should believe them both, because it always depends on the issue, or the time, or the period, or what's going on. And so I account for that, that's for sure. So anyway, I'm surprised that we have a guy on the board here, Mr. Wagner, that ran for commissioner at one time. And during a commissioner race, you always hear about bringing jobs into the county. And that's kind of like the campaign across the board. What can you do for the county? Bring in jobs, bring in prosperity. And here this board is going to outsource this job to somebody else, when we have a perfectly good candidate that was born and raised right here. Now I'm going to tell all of you, this is the best of the best of the best that Juniata County can provide. And if you don't vote for her for superintendent, you're basically telling everybody in Juniata County that we're too incompetent to raise anybody for this position. Because there's nobody that's better. There's nobody that we can present to you that's better.
Simon Cameron, administrative decisions.
Good evening. I want to thank the board for the time they commit to positions. It's a very important unpaid position, and you guys have been put through the ringer this past year and a half. I'm here as the JCA president to represent the concerns and thoughts that have been expressed by my members. It's been a very interesting year and a half. Last year there was a lot of anxiety about the consolidation of our elementary schools, logistics, transitioning the middle school year. At the beginning of last year, we were informed that Mr. Apple would be made head of secondary education, Mrs. Holderman would be made head of the elementary education. This is that transition. As JCA president, I have expressed my concern and opposition to Dr. Yarger because of lack of administration. Without any input, this was made by Dr. Yarger and Mr. Apple when presented. There was a strong drop in morale in the secondary schools. You have already heard about that. Throughout the consolidation process, Mrs. Holderman and her elementary administration team were in charge of merging elementary schools. They were not given much guidance because I did work with her and she was amazing to work with. And what they pulled off was amazing. She worked through her winter break. She did not get one. She worked tirelessly through the summer. She did not have a summer break. You guys know everything that was going on. You know the school year doesn't start. When the events of Dr. Yarger and Mr. Apple emerged, Dr. Kovac was made interim superintendent. Mrs. Holderman was his de facto superintendent while he was not here. Both were excellent to work with. Both made many improvements. The amount of improvements that we got in the first 2 to 3 weeks between the two of them was more than I'd gotten through the previous administration in the past year and a half. I thank the board for the assistant principals that they made. They were extremely needed. Our schools were in bad situations. When Dr. Kovac's position was finished, Mrs. Holderman stepped in and continued moving our district forward. She worked tirelessly over the summer to improve our district. She sat representing our school district at the public hearings. Our foreign submission process was improved, deficiencies were addressed, morale greatly improved. In my lifetime in this county, I have never seen work between the administrators, teachers, and secretaries and janitors ever better. And I've grown up here. I've now worked here for 17 years. I want to thank Mrs. Holden for her commitment to Union County, our students. She has accomplished a lot in a short time and morale has been greatly improved. Dr. Dawson is a qualified candidate. The concerns that I have received stem from a lack of input in the decision-making process. I understand that meet the candidate meetings cannot take place if candidates do not let their home districts know they are interviewing. However, the decision was made without input from our local administrative staff. As JCA president, I have been contacted multiple times by other districts inquiring about staff leaving our district. If you would have contacted me, I could have told you about the impressive job Mrs. Holderman has done. She has done an amazing job healing her district, and it did need to heal because we were in a very bad spot. Whatever your decision is, JCA will continue to be committed to improving our students' education. We will work with whoever the superintendent is, but I do believe you guys fully need to understand the commitment and job that she has done, because I honestly don't believe that you do. And I know you were busy, you had hearings. The amount of time that goes into this is a lot, and I know it's a thankless job. But she has done a wonderful job that is not taking anything away from Dr. Dawson. But the amount of outreach that I've gotten from my members, I would not be doing them justice if I did not get up here and talk to you tonight, because morale really has never been better than what we have now. The way the school year is going is amazing. Having a solid future vision is amazing. Having consistency is amazing. I can't stress that enough for you. So, thank you for your time, and thank you for the job that you